Hi, I want to make a video today about using text in eMachine Shop and some of the things and problems I had trying to figure out how to get it to work. Um, First off, to get text, you would click on the A symbol over here on the left and it'll open up a box. I'm sorry, then you have to click on the screen just to place a cursor on there. Now, um, anything you type in eMachine Shop, if you haven't selected auto up here in the top, is not considered to be a text on your actual DXF file. It's note comments to the machinist, comments to yourself. And if you were to click on auto right now to put it in the mode so that it's actually going to be engraved into your part, you would get an error and it will shut down eMachine Shop. And it took me a long time to figure this out, so that's why I'm starting out with this. You have to actually type in text before you select a mode. So I'm just going to type in test. And then, then at this point, you can go ahead and select auto. And it doesn't save. It doesn't actually save that mode, so you will have to click every time you type something in. You will have to click on auto. If you don't, then it's going to come on the screen as comments or a comment to the machinist, which isn't a problem. You can reselect the text and then go up to the top and click auto. Since there is text already there, you won't get an error. This setting, once you're in the auto mode, the only place that you can actually pick a font. And you would pick your font from the list over here on the side, and it'll then convert the font for you. The next item over here, this is actual location as to where the lower left corner is, which you pull it around to where you want it. So this is the height of your actual text, the size of the text that you're going to type in this section here. Z, if you're going to play around with this in 3D, you can add depth or air inside if you actually just want to cut completely through the material. It doesn't actually have anything to do with the DXF file when it goes over to be converted to G code in D2 and C. The Z in this is basically just for the 3D, and I don't really play with it. You can play with it if you like to view it. But a couple of things I want to show you first is, one, I want to backspace here and show you that selecting the right font makes a big difference. And I've typed in the number 0 here, and if you notice, this particular font is not sitting in the center of the box, and that becomes a problem with placing the actual font in the proper position when you're trying to, like, I was working on the degree wheel or compass or whatever you want to call it yesterday's video, and in order to place these fonts so that they're equally proportioned around that wheel, I would have to put this in a circle and then actually nudge it into position. Let me just try to put a circle around this. And I would have to select it, the circle, hold on just a second, I'll get my brain to work here. Let me try to put this font, drag it in there and drop it. And if you're working in a small screen, if I drop it where it wants to snap to, you can see it's not correct. When you have the full screen showing, like in my case, the compass, now you would have to zoom in pretty small, close to this to actually center it. And up here on the right hand corner, you can set your nudge, and I'll set it to 5 thousandths. And I get the warning. And you can go ahead and nudge this over into the center and then select it all. I don't know if I'm centered, but that's close. Then you would have to select it all so that the center of the circle then will snap to where you want it to go into position. Um, the correction for this is look for a different font. I mean, you have so many to choose from. I found that Arial works very good. Um, let's select this, and then I'll go ahead and let's see. Can I change it to Arial here? No. Let me go ahead and delete these off, and we'll start over. Gonna put this on the screen. I have to type something first, so if I forget to do that, I will get the error, and it will definitely close me out. Okay, if you look, this is that same font, and it defaulted to it. If you look, I found that Arial Black for two reasons. One, it would have to machine this as this is one segment, and then come back and machine this as a segment, and it would take twice as long to make this zero. This zero. Hang on, having trouble with my mouth this morning. I've seen Arial Black and TrueType works pretty good, and if you notice, it automatically centered up in the middle of the box. So placing it actually on the screen where you want it, it will snap to that center dot, and it's a lot easier to get your text aligned up that way. All characters are not always the same width and height. Difference in letters. An I obviously would be not as wide as a K or an R. So I found that actually placing these in the center of a circle and then using the circle to place them in their location will keep everything concentric and even. So but it's just something you'd have to play with, and before I would spend the time to engrave something as complicated as possibly that degree wheel, I would engrave some of these characters in the way, you know, that I'm going to use them on some scrap first and see how it actually looks and play with it first. Got to consider what it's going to look like machined. So on this particular one, I would, in D2 and C, I would not do this as a pocket. I would tell it to do all the lines to the inside, and then it would just step in here. You're using a bit, maybe 5 thousandths wide, so you would end up with 2 lines. It just matters what it looks like, and that's why I'd say I'd try it on scrap first. So let me go ahead and go over to the actual drawing. Let me close this one. Let's see. And then here's the actual wheel. Now on the wheel, to align the characters, I need an actual circle that they'll follow. And then there's different designs and different ways that you can do this. My characters, I'm going to show you something about actually determining the size of the characters. Let's say, for instance, I'm going to go with, it seems to default with a 0.4 or a 0.5. I'll pick a character and type in my 0 first. I have to then click on auto to get the to pick my font. And I'm back on that 2D one I don't like. I'll go back to my Arial. Once you put this in, it will stay there. Okay. This particular character will go ahead and line up, but I need to segment this outer circle. So I'll pick the circle, go to line, divide, and I'm going to divide it by 36. Let me drag the box back over here so you can see it. I'm running multiple screens. So I'm going to divide that by 36 and click OK. Then I can pick this actual 0. Like I said, for the difference in widths of characters, it's still a better idea to center these in a circle, because when you get to 3 characters wide, they're not going to exactly center up. So I draw, in this particular case here, I would draw like a 1-inch circle to place these in. And in the 3-digit numbers I'm going to make, I draw maybe a 1 1/4. So we'll just put this one here as 1.50. And we'll make this one 1. Okay, there was an error I didn't see. Okay, try that again. Alright, now I would pick this character up and place it in the center and then look at it and make sure it did snap to the center, and we know 0 does. Okay, from this, now since I've divided this line, we have to decide how we're going to want to view the characters, and it has, in a case like this, it has to do with whether this wheel itself is going to turn or whether something else is going to turn 2 positions on the wheel. So it has to do with how you view it, and in some cases you would actually want to turn your numbers upside down on the bottom because of the way it's used on whatever you're going to view. But in this case, I'm going to show you first off, if you were going to position, not put all the numbers around the circle, but you were going to put, then once you got this placed, pull the circle back out. All right. Then you can go on with your next character. Let's say if you were just going to place 4 on here, and so I would type my next letter, and let's say it's 90. I then take 90. See, I forgot to put 90 as automatic, so that would not actually be converted. Okay, now it's been converted. I drop 90 in my circle, and it pretty much snaps to the center. Pick it all, bring it up, and I'm sorry, let me get to the right position here. And then I can snap 90 into position. Alright, that's one of the methods, and then you could come over here, come to the bottom and put 180, and come over here and put 270. Some of the other methods of doing it is to actually rotate the numbers so they are in relationship to the wheel. So as the wheel itself turns, the number is facing correctly. And in a case like that, let's say my next letter would be, let's come up to the top, just drop this anywhere. Let's say we're going to have 10, and I have to select auto every time. Drop my 10 in my circle, select it all, drag it into position. It snaps in centered up. Alright, then while this is actually selected, I could have done it with both of them selected. If I hit Control T, I can start rotating these numbers. And don't ask me why, but I'm on 10, but to get this to rotate correctly, I have to rotate it to 350 degrees. So I would say OK. And you can see it turned the number. Let's pick our 90 here. Hit Control T. 90 would be 270. Click OK. And then you can go ahead and place the numbers around the dial in that fashion. Now, what I found was I placed all these on here just playing around and worked my way all the way around the wheel. And when you start getting into 3-digit numbers, figure out pretty quick you're going to get crowded. So an example would be, say for instance, I'll come over here and put in 350. I didn't click auto. Now my 350, if I try to, I need to drop it in the box. And like I said, the aerials, these snap in pretty good. If I was using that original default one, they wouldn't. I can grab this, come up to the 350 position, and it snaps to location. Then I can select it. I could have still done it while I had it highlighted. Control T, and this one is actually 10. to rotate it. I'll go ahead and put in 340. Grab my circle, snap it down on it. I probably don't need the circle on these aerials. They seem to be lining up pretty good, but just Control T. This is 20. Now if you notice, we're extremely crowded. So that's just because I picked the wrong size to start with, and you can correct that once you get back in here. I'm not going to obviously do this whole wheel in this video, but I would then go ahead and select each one of these and come up to the top and say make them 3s. Ah, not 3 inches. Let's try edit undo there. Let's try 0.3. And just work my way around. And I would have to do it to them all. Or this wouldn't look right. .5 would probably fit too, but so you can correct it once you've already got it placed on the screen. That looks a little better. You can actually in D2 and C, you can wrap this around a 4th axis if you actually wanted to increment positions on a shaft, put degrees on a shaft or positions on a shaft. You would do it a little different. If you look now, though, something's a little askew here as far as where these letters are lining up, and I would want my 10 centered up off my 10 line. My 0 doesn't seem to be centered up either, so I want to look to see what's going on here. This line, when I divided it by 36, may not have been on 0. That says it's starting at 10. And this line is not divided. I would probably want to nudge these over just a little bit. It doesn't quite look right, but text is kind of funny. You gotta kind of play with it to get it to work right, because it's not actually, I guess, true lines in the sense that the normal drawing would be. Now, see, what's funny is 90 almost looks right, but 0 and 10 look off. So if I was to pick this, I'm going to put it back in a circle and zoom in on the area. Let's see what I find here. Pick it up. Take it out of there. And I want to bring it back close, and I'll zoom to the area and see what's going on there, because it should have snapped in. When we get the select tool. Right, the 10 looks maybe when I dropped it I shook, because that looks better. It is better. So I don't know what happened. Okay, I'm just a little shaky when I position it, and it snapped to the wrong spot, probably. I put this back over the 0 and see what I pick up there. Yeah, the 0's definitely not lined up, so I can get my tool here, select tool, hold my control key, move these out. I hate the way this thing snaps back like that. Put this back on that, hold the control key, pick it back up, and bring it back down into position. Alright, it was something I was doing. So, I wasn't quite snapping it into position right. This one here, look at it. See if I can straighten it out. Getting high, low, high, low. I don't. Like I say, you got to kind of play with it. Anyway, that's a short video. I haven't really done a lot of engraving. Just trying to show how to get to things, how to work with them. And I probably picked a big circle. That's probably the reason it's not one to snap in that time. But definitely got something wrong here. What size circle? Yeah, I got the 1 1/4 circle. Let me get the 1. Put that back in there. If you ever want to screw up, just try to show somebody something. Okay, what it is these 3 digits ones do not want to snap to the center. If you look, it's actually snapping high. Let me zoom back in on that. Here's where you would have to use the nudge. It's snapping in the center high. So in a case like this, I would want to go ahead and nudge it down while it's highlighted. And I'm using my nudge key, and it's on a 1/10. I don't want it there. Drag it pretty close. You just have to kind of look at it. Raise it up a little bit. That looks pretty good. Okay, now I'll select it. And it should snap into the center of the 0 this time. Drag it over here. And then snap it back to our point, which is not there. Bring it down some more. Whoop. There we go. Alright, that kind of lined it up. So, yeah, like I said, you have to kind of play around with these. The 340 obviously is not sitting in the center of its circle. With working with it, you can make it look pretty good. But it has to do with the fact that characters are different widths for different font sizes and different shapes. So that's it for this video. It wasn't too helpful, but just don't forget to type in a character before you click on auto, And don't forget to click on auto and select a font. That you can't select a font until you click on auto. So that's it for this video. Have a good day.